It was raining heavily as I arrived at Starlight Cafe and realized I'd no real reason to be in a hurry. I was Drew, only freelance designing as my occupation. I'd no responsibilities to keep, so I've been attached to this table, laptop plugged in. A warm scented air filled the cafe, and the easy tune of jazz created a dreamy atmosphere. Alara fastened a steaming latte in front of me even before I could ask for it. "It's time," she whispered. I joked that she was referring to the rain. I was wrong. As soon as I took a drink, everything seemed to change. It didn't just register as delicious in my mouth, it was as if the very air became heavier. My fingers tingled. My chest tightened. For an instant, the entire restaurant seemed to whirl around as if it were a merry-go-round. I leaned forward on the bar by my side. Ilara's gaze didn't waver. She spoke as if the words were meant for the depths of me, rather than the surface. But my effort at answering her, especially my voice, sounded as though it was transforming from sharp edges to something softer. I accidentally dropped the cup. I went into the bathroom and stopped when I looked at myself in the mirror. The man I was just hours ago was fading. My face looked slimmer, jaw more delicate, my eyes wider, my hair slightly longer.
"What the hell is happening?" I whispered, but even my voice betrayed me. It was higher, smoother, foreign, yet oddly comforting. My hoodie hugged my body closer, while the sensation at my waist left me breathless. I lifted my shirt. Curves. Real curves. I no longer completely owned my body, or perhaps, for the first time, it belonged wholly to me. I was alone in the restroom, mesmerized by what I saw in the mirror. Small changes were slowly taking place in my appearance, becoming more pronounced every minute. I poured water on my face in an attempt to snap myself back to reality. Yet the water only confirmed what I was experiencing was happening for good. My jeans didn't fit as snug around my hips as they once had. My shoes no longer seemed to fit my new feet. A tear trickled from my eye. Was I dreaming? Cursed? Blessed? I didn't know. I realized I had to stay inside for the moment. I pulled my hoodie on before stepping out into the street. The cafe seemed different, brighter, warmer. Everyone gave me a quick look before turning their attention to other things. A guy gave me his arm and let me walk through ahead of him. A woman on the street smiled as she praised my hair. My voice was different too. I barely recognized that warm, soft sound when I said thank you to the woman. Everyone seemed to welcome the sight of me as if it was completely normal. Everyone accepted her. Daniela. Her name appeared in my thoughts as if it were something I'd almost forgotten. I got home and closed the door, hoping that did enough to stop the changes I was going through. But it followed me. My apartment suddenly appeared too dark and uninviting for a woman. Nothing in my apartment reflected the person I'd become. My hair had grown long enough to reach my collar. Then I noticed my phone. My mobile phone had a photo on it that I'd never seen before. A woman's face. My face. With the name Daniela Ray. Panic set in. I tore through my wallet. My ID had changed. Birth date, name, gender, all rewritten. Drew was gone. Daniela existed on every document. I stumbled upon my old work on my laptop and quickly discovered that everyone now called me with Ms. Ray. I went back to read old messages I did not remember. Designs signed under Daniela's name. A job offer. A new life I'd never lived, but apparently had. I could not sleep that night. Everything about me seemed new. My breasts grazing against the sheets, my legs shifting against new pressures, and my hair dancing across my face in different ways. I lay awake, thinking about Ilara. How did she do this? And why me? In the morning, I returned to Starlight Cafe, but the sign had changed. Cafe Luna. It now read. Inside, no one knew an Ilara. A different barista worked the counter. "First time here?" she asked. I shook my head. But the truth was unclear now. The next few days blurred. I explored Daniela's life. Her new wardrobe, contacts, habits. I was enrolled at a fashion co-op as an assistant designer. I had talent I didn't remember learning. It all came naturally, like muscle memory. The team embraced me. They called me sweet, driven, creative. I smiled, nodded, acted like I belonged. Because oddly, I did. I wasn't faking. I was just uncovering something buried. Exactly 3 weeks in, I found a letter in my box, handwritten, no return address, just one line. The light has found you from within. Shine bright. I knew it was Alara. I held the letter close to my chest. I stopped fighting the transformation. The changes she'd started in me slowly made me new. I gave up looking for a salvation and began embracing what the future held. Daniela was not someone I was playing. I had always been her. I was just late arriving. I changed my apartment. There were changes everywhere. I picked up how to do my makeup, played with various hair looks, and uncovered my own sense of self-expression. I unexpectedly took a fondness for indie music and flower arrangements. Keeping a diary became a new habit of mine. I titled each entry with a warm message to myself because nobody else got to decide how I should live my life. Finally, I felt noticed, even while I spent time by myself. I met Mira during a product shoot. She was tall, stylish, and had the warmest laugh I'd ever heard. We clicked instantly. She took dozens of photos of me, each one capturing a new layer I hadn't noticed. "There's something in your eyes," she said, "like you've lived 2 lives." I smiled but didn't explain. Some things were better left unspoken. We started getting coffee after work. I always chose tea now. Our friendship became much more meaningful and strong as time went on. I told Mira everything about my experiences from the very beginning on our first encounter. She didn't laugh or question. After that, she held my hand and assured me that I was entirely where I needed to be. I sat there and finally let myself break down in tears. Every part of me was connected as one for the first time since I had been born. I began mentoring the junior designers at the design co-op. Some of the designers I was mentoring were struggling with addressing identity, uncertainty, and apprehension. I listened. I shared what I could. I said that confidence often comes from the same place as passion. Your true self often lies on the other side of the fear. They listened. Some cried. Some changed. Starting to help others brought a new depth to my life that wasn't just about design. Holidays felt strange. I didn't go back to my old town. I didn't reconnect with old friends. I wasn't sure how to explain who I had become, or always was. Instead, I made new traditions. Mira and several of my closest colleagues joined me for dinner at my place. We shared jokes, dishes, and moved our bodies without shoes on. I wore a red dress, and no one looked at me like I didn't belong in it, because I did. I always had. I returned Cafe Luna the following morning. The barista gave me a latte while smiling. "On the house," she said. "Ilara sends her love." My breath caught. I checked around, but she wasn't where she used to be. Still, her presence lingered. I vanished with the cup and went out into the crowded city. Maybe it wasn't the drink that gave us happiness. It was our beliefs. When you decide to become someone different, years passed. Daniela flourished. I published a book of illustrations. Mira and I moved in together. We got a cat named Cloud. I learned to speak at events about identity and creativity. I shared selected parts of what happened to me, just enough so others felt they could change for the better, that they didn't have to wait for a magical barista. They only had to say yes to the possibility. At times, I ask myself where Drew disappeared to. He's only a distant reminder today, just one more part of the earth that made Daniela bloom. I'm not ashamed of him. He was the beginning, yet he wasn't the ultimate goal for me. I am not pretending to be someone I am not now. She's truth. She's light. She's joy. She's me. A young person comes to the cafe these days, sitting in my old booth, staring at their laptop, always silent. I stay away from them at a certain distance. One day, I'll silently hand them a coffee and mumble, "I think it's best for things to end." Maybe they'll understand. Maybe not. However, if they're anything like I used to be, they'll sense it all around them, deep in their soul. Transformation doesn't always come in lightning bolts. Sometimes it's in whispers, in cups of coffee, in reflections that finally smile back. And if you're lucky, if you're ready, you'll realize you were never changing into someone else. You were just finally becoming who you were always meant to be.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe.